Just a month ago, no one could believe this, but today it is the harsh Russian reality. Having previously attacked Ukrainian territory almost with impunity, now Russia itself is experiencing the arrival of ballistic and cruise missiles.
It can be applied close, meaning its maximum range will be 300 kilometers. We are already talking about the Krasnodar region.
The results of the first strikes and the prospects opened up for the Ukrainian armed forces by Washington and European leaders permission to strike Russia. What Russia managed to take out of the line of fire and which targets will certainly be destroyed. Watch right now on Arsenal. The very first strike with British missiles on Russia marked the complete failure of the Russian air defense. According to some reports, 2 out of 12 missiles were shot down, while others claim none were intercepted. The results of this strike on the command post in the Kursk region were phenomenal. 500 North Korean soldiers and several dozen Russian officers were eliminated. Hundreds of military personnel were injured. But following the British missiles, American ballistic missiles were launched a few days later. In the same Kursk region, first the Kursk-Vostochny airfield was attacked, and later the Halina air base.
This is an airfield near Kursk? Where military aircraft are based and civilian planes also take off from there.
Each such strike on Russian territory is a small tactical victory. This is not a turning point in the war. Well, yesterday, a large strategic arsenal of the Russians was destroyed. If another and another and another such arsenal is destroyed, these are missiles, these are drones. This means less and less damage that the Russians can inflict on the front. So it's not a matter of weeks or even months for such a thing to work. It is certainly working. I think that with each passing day, thanks to this decision, it will be easier for people to fight on the front. Fewer bombs, fewer lancets fall on them. Arrive.
And this is just the beginning, experts believe. The capabilities to strike and penetrate Russian air defenses are only being explored by the Ukrainian General Staff now. Meanwhile, analysts are already eagerly creating maps with zones where Western missiles can reach. Moreover, it seems this trend was set out of fear. The Russians themselves.
If it functions effectively, for instance, from deep within Ukraine, somewhere near Kiev or Vinnytsia and Kryvyi Rih, then cities like Kursk and Rostov-on-Don will fall within its range. It's clear that all of these frontline areas, such as Luhansk and Donetsk, Kherson, Zaporizhzhia regions, if they dare to move it somewhere in the Dnipropetrovsk region, for example, its range will be even further. That means cities like Voronezh, Tula will be within reach. Crimea will be within reach. It can even be used very close by. That is, its maximum range will be 300 kilometers. Then we are talking about the Krasnodar region.
Thus, the Russian Federation assesses the current capabilities of the Ukrainian armed forces. Speaking of the American ballistic missiles ATACMS, we currently officially have missiles in the MGM-140A modification, with a strike range of about 1,500 kilometers. This means that a dozen military airfields are under threat in Crimea, Voronezh, Kursk, Bryansk, and a number of other cities.
There are facilities that you simply cannot move anywhere. In general, this is immovable property. Headquarters, some communications, warehouses, repair bases, storage bases of something, equipment, where people are located. That is, there are many targets that can be hit, causing significant harm to the enemy.
Moreover, even considering that Russia has relocated most of its aircraft deeper into the country, the ATACMS strikes still create enormous, often insurmountable problems for enemy aviation.
It is now widely known that the Russians have strategically relocated those strategic airfields that were previously within the effective range of ATACMS, specifically with a firing range of 185 to 506 kilometers, way beyond the boundaries of this area. But we understand that by moving the airfields 300 kilometers away, it reduces the operational capabilities of the aircraft, and especially helicopters, because they need to fly 300 kilometers to the front line and back. And I don't even really know how to solve this problem for helicopters.
Meanwhile, within the missile range, the enemy is completely deprived of the ability to amass forces and equipment.
What is the peculiarity of ATACMS? Cluster. Warhead. That is, they explode and cover an area of about 1 square kilometer. And they hit all of the various different pieces of equipment concentrated in that area.
Another significant and complex major threat facing the Kremlin is the logistics of the grouping in Ukraine. Now, any centralized supply of ammunition, food, or reserve transport indeed turns into a lottery.
Besides the logistics base, these are, in any case, the locations of personnel. These are command points that are located quite deep in the rear. This may also include strikes on various infrastructure objects, including bridges.
Speaking of another ace up the sleeve of the armed forces of Ukraine, they have become the Scalp and stormshadow missiles. The British-French development flies for 300 kilometers and covers twice the area. This includes Anapa, Volgodonsk, Lipetsk, and even Tula, where there are also many interesting military targets for the Ukrainian army.
The same applies to Russian depots, Russian command points, and other strategic facilities, since currently they are directly in the crosshairs, and the impact of such a missile. It completely destroys even well-prepared deep command posts such as these.
At the same time, despite the Russians' claims of shooting down the stormshadow, in reality, there were hits. Therefore, the stories about the omnipotence of the Russian air defense once again turned out to be a myth.
They cannot shoot down, create faster acting systems that would react faster, fly faster, and be controlled faster. That is, that they need to have faster processes and more advanced and sophisticated, faster computers that would calculate the trajectory in order to destroy these missiles. They simply cannot do this.
Meanwhile, having received additional carriers for these aviation missiles in the form of Western fighters, some analysts do not rule out that the missiles have also changed. From the export version, with a range of 300 kilometers, to the internal British-French version, with a range of up to 1,000 kilometers.
Previously, they were launched from Su-24 aircraft. Now they say that F-16 aircraft can be used. And this also gives us many opportunities to launch these missiles. And again, the firing range. This will be a surprise for the enemy, but I think it could be more substantial than the export version. At 300 kilometers, this will seriously and significantly affect the enemy's capabilities, both in terms of their immediate combat units and in terms of logistics and overall effectiveness.
At the same time, the additional charm of the Scalps and Stormshadow is that they are not Russian developments that hit randomly. In conclusion, therefore, for positive results, a relatively small number of missiles and aircraft are needed.
A huge number of launch systems are needed for their use. Launch systems for them, several units of such aircraft, up to 10. Because this weaponry is not mass-produced, and it is necessary specifically for the precise destruction of enemy targets.
We will see very soon what specific targets these will become. After all, we did not stop striking Russia even after Putin's attempt to respond with his own forces. If you like this video, then don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to our new Arsenal channel. The link is in the description below the video.